I knew something was wrong the moment she smiled at her phone and said it was. Just work stuff. Yeah, just work stuff. Funny how those words sound different when you've been married 10 years. Married to the same woman you met back in college, the one who used to laugh at your dumb jokes and talk about opening a restaurant together over late-night frozen pizzas. The woman you built 2 actual restaurants with, 1 brick and mortar, 1 blood, sweat, and caffeine. My name's Josh. Josh McKinley. I live in Fort Collins, Colorado. And this? This is the story of how I found out my wife was cheating. Not just once. Not just one guy. 2. Simultaneously. 1 was bad enough. 2? That's some Olympic-level betrayal right there. But I'm getting ahead of myself. So here we are. I'm 36. She's 35. Her name's Rachel. We met our sophomore year at Colorado State. She was business admin with a minor in marketing. I was hospitality management. You know, restaurant nerd. She had this fire in her, a sharp tongue and sharper smile. I was the laid-back kid who wore flannel year-round and had a dream of owning a burger joint that served craft beer and live music. Somehow, it worked. We were married 3 weeks after graduation. Everybody said we were too young. You should travel, they said. Date around, they said. But we didn't listen. We were in love. Or something close enough that we believed it would last. And it did, for a while. We opened our first restaurant 3 years after the wedding. The Fork Road. Clever, huh? It was small, 12 tables, but cozy. She handled the numbers, the branding, the social media, all that polished stuff. I was the guy behind the kitchen door, sleeves rolled up, running food and managing the staff. Business was good. Not perfect, but we made it. Even opened a second spot across town, more upscale. The Velvet Table. That one was her baby. We had a daughter 5 years ago. Lily. Smart kid. Big eyes like her mom, and the kind of laugh that makes you forget everything bad for a second. We were a team. A little family, on paper at least. And then, things shifted. It wasn't one big thing. No. I found a thong in the glove box. Moment. It was smaller than that. Slower. Like a tire with a slow leak. You don't notice at first, but eventually, the car pulls to one side and you're like, what the hell? She started working later. Not just, I'm swamped. Late. I mean late. Nights she'd say she had to check in on the restaurant staff at Velvet, even though we had a perfectly competent GM. Then she stopped inviting me to her business mixers, said they were too stuffy for me. Which fair. I'm not a wine and canapes guy. But still. One night, this was about 4 months ago, I was home with Lily, trying to convince her broccoli wasn't a vegetable designed by Satan, when Rachel walked in wearing this new black dress I'd never seen. Tight. Elegant. Not something you throw on for bookkeeping. I said, you look great. Where you headed? She blinked. Didn't I tell you? Investor dinner. You remember Todd? From Denver? I didn't. But I nodded anyway. Because that's what you do when your gut is whispering and your brain's still trying to give her the benefit of the doubt. I started noticing more things. Her phone was always upside down. Always locked. She'd laugh at texts, but never show me what was so funny. Our sex life? It had dropped off a cliff. She'd wave it off with, I'm just exhausted. Or, Lily was up all night. And sure, that happens. But you know your person. You know when something's off. So I did what any guy trying to not be a paranoid freak does. I gaslit myself. Told myself I was imagining things. Maybe we hit a rut. Maybe I was working too much. Maybe it was just marriage. Then came the receipt. That's where this really begins. She left her wallet on the kitchen counter one morning. I needed to grab her insurance card to book Lily's checkup. As I pulled it out, a folded dinner receipt slid out. Ocean Blue Bistro. Not cheap. 2 entrees. Bottle of wine. Dessert. Timestamped 9:47 p.m. on a Thursday night. The same night she told me she had a conference call with vendors. That was when the whisper turned into a full scream in my head. Now, I'm not proud of what I did next, but I stand by it. I followed her. Not like followed. I'm not Jason Bourne. But I did start noting her schedule. When she said she had meetings, I checked the calendar. When she said she was with suppliers, I'd swing by the restaurants. Sometimes she was there. Sometimes not. One Friday night, she said she was driving to Boulder for a late menu consultation. I kissed her goodbye, then waited 15 minutes and got in my truck. She didn't go to Boulder. She went to a bar downtown. Walked in like she owned the place, sat at a corner booth, and 10 minutes later, a guy in a suit showed up. Tall. Slick hair. I watched them laugh, lean close. He touched her hand. She didn't pull away. They left together an hour later. Didn't go to a restaurant. Didn't go to our restaurant. They went to a hotel. That night, I sat in the truck until 2 a.m., fists clenched on the steering wheel, heart in my throat. You ever feel your soul just shut down? Like a power outage in your chest? That's what it felt like. And I thought that was rock bottom. I was wrong. A week later, I found out there was another guy. The second guy. I stumbled into that discovery by accident. See, after the hotel night, I didn't confront her. Not right away. Maybe I should have. Maybe I should have stormed into the room and flipped the damn mattress. But I didn't. I guess I needed to be sure. Needed to sit with it a while. Process it. Or maybe, and this is the ugly truth, maybe I was hoping it was a one-time thing. Some midlife crisis crap she'd snap out of. But nah. This wasn't a mistake. This was a pattern. A week later, I was at our other restaurant, Velvet Table, doing inventory in the back freezer because our manager called in sick, and I didn't trust the kid on shift not to double count the scallops. I'd been knee-deep in frozen shrimp for about 20 minutes when I heard her laugh, Rachel's laugh, coming from the alley outside the back door. It was the laugh that did it. That high-pitched, flirty version she used when she was trying to charm the pants off someone. I peeked through the little peephole window. There she was, in her work blazer and heels, leaning on the brick wall like she was in a damn rom-com, and in front of her, this wasn't suit guy from the hotel. This guy was wearing jeans and a leather jacket. Looked like someone who plays rhythm guitar in a dive bar band and still thinks Smolder is a personality. They kissed. Long kiss. Then she said something and they both laughed. He smacked her. She didn't stop him. You ever have one of those moments where reality doesn't just hit you? It sucker punches you in the face and then spits on you for good measure? That was me. Standing there behind a box of frozen cod, watching my wife cheat on me. Again. With someone else. I didn't follow them. I didn't need to. I'd seen enough. So I did what any rational, emotionally mature man would do. I drank whiskey in the walk-in cooler until my feet went numb. It wasn't even the affair that broke me, honestly. It was the fact that she was so comfortable doing it. Like she'd done it before. Like she was playing two different characters in two different shows, and neither audience knew about the other. So that night, I started digging. Phone records. Bank statements. Her emails. I wasn't proud of it, but hell, the woman was already treating our marriage like an episode of The Bachelorette. What was I protecting at that point? Her privacy. The paper trail was laughable. Hotel charges under. Client meetings. Venmo transfers to someone named JV with eggplant emojis. Real subtle Rachel. Dinner bills for two. Uber rides to neighborhoods she had no business being in. Turns out the suit guy, I'll call him Tom, worked in real estate. She met him through one of our vendors when we were expanding the patio at Velvet. Smooth talker, probably told her she looked too young to have a 5-year-old. Gagged me. Leather jacket guy? That was Jason. A bartender from one of the restaurants we source cocktails from. Apparently he was supplying more than seasonal gin infusions. And here's the kicker. They didn't know about each other. I mean, that's a hell of a scheduling feat between our business, a 5-year-old, and 2 full-time boyfriends. I don't know whether to be impressed or horrified. Okay, mostly horrified. That weekend, I took Lily to the zoo. Just me and her. We watched giraffes, ate popcorn, rode the carousel twice. And the whole time, I kept looking at her face, her innocent, toothy smile, and thinking, this little girl has no idea the bomb that's about to hit her world. Because I'd made a decision. I wasn't staying, but I also wasn't walking away quietly. Not after this circus act. Not after building a whole damn life with someone who could smile in my face while juggling 2 dicks behind my back. No. I was gonna take my time. Let it simmer. I started planning. And the first phase? Let the boyfriends know exactly who they were sharing the sandbox with. So, here's the thing about people who lie. They count on your silence. They need you to stay quiet, to doubt yourself, to be mature, or civil, or whatever the hell makes it easier for them to keep doing what they're doing. I was done playing that role. I wasn't gonna yell. I wasn't gonna throw plates. I was gonna do something far worse. I was gonna talk. Let me walk you through how I did it. First up, Tom the suit. Finding him wasn't hard. Like I said, he was in real estate. His LinkedIn looked like it was built by a graphic designer with daddy issues, all grayscale glamour shots and quotes like, "Success is earned, not given." Rachel had mentioned his firm once during dinner months back. I just never realized he was the reason she spent half the meal smiling into her wine glass, like someone had texted her porn. So I gave him a call. Told him I was looking to expand into a 3rd restaurant space. Said I'd gotten his name through a mutual friend. Very cloak and dagger. He ate it up. Scheduled a lunch meeting the next day. I met him at a steakhouse downtown. He was every bit the guy I expected. Fake tan Rolex, that confident chuckle guys use when they don't know anything but want you to think they do. After about 20 minutes, I asked a direct question. "So hey," I said, sipping my Coke. "Just curious, how long have you been sleeping with my wife?" He blinked. Blinked again. I'm sorry, what?" "Rachel. My wife. You've been sleeping with her for, what, 3-4 months?" He looked like he'd just swallowed a fork. "Look," I said, leaning in, "I'm not here to fight you. I just thought you should know, you're not the only one. She's been sleeping with another guy too. Thought you might want to get tested. And not waste your time." He opened his mouth to argue, then shut it. Guess the wheels were turning. I didn't know she was married," he mumbled. "Yeah," I said. "That's what the other guy said too." Tom didn't finish his meal. I did. Took the leftovers home. Petty? Maybe. Satisfying? Absolutely. Next came Jason. Now he was a little trickier. Bartender types tend to be slick. But turns out, they're also incredibly predictable. I showed up at his bar on a Wednesday night. It was slow, just a few couples drinking overpriced martinis. He was behind the counter, wiping down glasses like every bartender in every movie ever. I took a stool, waited till he made eye contact and said, "Hey you, Jason." He gave me that smirk they all have. "Depends who's asking. I'm Rachel's husband." Silence. He froze mid-wipe. The smirk vanished. "I know you probably didn't know," I continued. "She's good at this. Really good. But yeah, we're married. 10 years. Got a 5-year-old at home. So now you do know." He looked like he was trying to say something smart but couldn't find the words. "You're not the only one, by the way," I added. "Just thought you should know where you stand on the roster." And with that, I slid off the stool and left. No yelling. No fists. No threats. Just the truth. Sometimes the truth is a damn wrecking ball. I didn't hear from either of them after that. But Rachel, she started noticing something was off. Her texts got weird. Short. Passive-aggressive. "You've been distant. Everything okay? I feel like we're not on the same page lately." No sh*T Rachel. I didn't reply. I started spending more nights at the guest room in our rental. Told her I was staying up late working on a new business idea. Technically true. The business was Operation Get the Hell Out Without Taking a Financial Bullet. I started quietly separating the books. Our business accounts were tangled as hell, but I was unraveling them one charge at a time. I wasn't gonna leave her the keys to both restaurants while she played house with whoever still stuck around. Meanwhile, I kept being dad. Took Lily to preschool. Played tea party. Read bedtime stories like nothing was wrong. But it was eating me alive inside. There were nights I'd lie on the floor of the guest room, just staring at the ceiling, wondering how the hell we got here. How the girl I used to split ramen noodles with in a college dorm was now playing me like a cheap violin. And yet, there was no going back. Something had snapped. You don't come back from this kind of betrayal. You don't forget the image of your wife kissing two different men in two different parts of town like it's a hobby she's collecting stamps for. Nah. I was done being the guy who hoped things would get better. I was about to become the guy who made damn sure they got worse, for her. By this point, I was living a double life. By day, I was still the co-owner of 2 local restaurants, dad to a 5-year-old, and husband, at least on paper. I smiled, I waved, I played nice. You'd never know that behind those smiles, I was untangling a tenure, unraveling a marriage like a net. At night, I was planning my exit. And I mean really planning it. Quietly, methodically, the way you'd plan a prison break. Because that's what it started to feel like. First step, lawyer. I met with a guy named Clay Haynes, a friend of my cousin who'd been through his own nasty split 2 years ago. Clay had that calm, bulldog vibe. The kind of guy who'd smile politely while he dismantled your opponent's life in a courtroom. He looked through my notes, texts, photos, even the receipts I collected. His face didn't flinch once, which was impressive considering I had actual printouts of hotel bills and time-stamped screenshots of her kissing 2 different dudes, like she was in a rom-com gone rogue. "This is strong," he said finally. "You've got enough here to build a pretty convincing case for infidelity. Colorado's a no-fault divorce state, but this will definitely help with leverage, especially with custody." That word hit me like a shovel to the chest. Custody. Yeah, this wasn't just about revenge. It was about Lily. I wasn't gonna let my daughter grow up thinking this kind of crap was normal. I wasn't gonna let her spend weekends with whatever man her mother was screwing that month. Not happening. So Clay helped me draw up the beginning of the plan. We'd get the financials separated. File for divorce. Petition for primary custody. I'd keep 1 restaurant, the original, Forked Road, and she'd get Velvet Table, which frankly had her DNA all over it anyway. But first, I had to make a clean break. And to do that, I needed to move. Which meant the conversation. Now, you'd think confronting your cheating wife with all the evidence you've collected would be the most dramatic moment of your life. Like something out of a courtroom thriller. But you'd be surprised how boring it actually felt once you knew the truth. It was a Tuesday. Lily was staying the night at my sister's. Rachel came home late, again, and I was sitting at the dining table with a manila folder and an old-fashioned in my hand. Don't judge. It helped. She walked in, kicked off her heels, and started heading toward the bedroom. "Rachel," I said calmly. She turned. "What's up? We need to talk." There it was, the line. The universal sign that shit was about to go down. Her eyes narrowed. "Is this about the finances again? Because I told you the payroll issue." "It's not about that," I said, and tapped the folder. "It's about this. And the fact that I know you've been cheating on me." Dead silence. I watched her freeze. Blink. Then blink again. It was like watching a system crash in real time. What?" she stammered. I slid the folder across the table. "I know about Tom. I know about Jason. I've got hotel receipts, text logs, photos. I know. Don't insult us both by denying it." She didn't deny it. Not exactly. Instead, she did what cheaters always do when they're caught. She pivoted. "I haven't been happy, Josh," she said, voice trembling just enough to try and guilt me. "You've been distant. Focused on work. You haven't touched me in months." "Oh, come on," I said, nearly laughing. "You stopped touching me long before I stopped trying. You were checked out of this marriage the moment you climbed into bed with guy number 1. She didn't cry. She didn't scream. She just sat down. "Is this it?" she asked. "You're leaving?" "No," I said. "I left a long time ago. You just didn't notice. I've already filed the paperwork. You'll get it tomorrow. I'll be moving out at the end of the week." She swallowed hard. "And Lily? I'm filing for primary custody." "Are you kidding me?" she snapped, suddenly full of fire. "You think you're taking my daughter? She's not a poker chip, Rachel. And I'm not taking her. I'm protecting her." She opened her mouth, probably to go into some monologue about how I was the one who failed her, but I held up a hand. "I'm not fighting with you," I said. "I'm just telling you how it's going to be. You made your choices. You invited strangers into our marriage. Now you get to live with the fallout." And just like that, I got up and left the room. No yelling. No drama. Just the sound of her breathing behind me, ragged, panicked, probably thinking about all the lies unraveling at once. The next day, she got served a velvet table, right in the middle of a staff meeting. Cold? Maybe. Deserved? Absolutely. She tried calling me. Texting. One message said, "Can we talk?" Another said, "Please don't do this." The last one just said, "I didn't mean to hurt you." But here's the thing about betrayal. It doesn't matter if you meant it. You did it. And once it's done, it rewrites everything that came before. I didn't answer any of her messages. I didn't need to. I had my answer. And now, I had my freedom. Getting served was the first real punch to her gut. You could see it in her face, even in the Instagram story she posted later that week, trying to look all unbothered, while sipping overpriced lattes like her world hadn't just gone up in flames. I didn't watch them, but a friend of ours texted me, "Bro, she's posting like she's still in college. WTF is happening?" What was happening? Consequences. For the first time in what was clearly a long time. But that wasn't the satisfying part. The satisfying part came a few days later, when both her boyfriends, Tom and Jason, ghosted her. I didn't need to lift a finger. After I dropped the truth on each of them, they did the rest themselves. Tom deleted her from socials, blocked her number. Jason quit his bartending gig. Last I heard, he moved to Denver. Hell, I don't blame him. If I found out I was sloppy seconds and thirds in the same week, I'd probably pack up too. Now, you'd think Rachel would be humbled by all that, right? I mean, you'd assume a little shame might sneak in after your whole affair house of cards came crashing down. Nope. She doubled down. Started spinning this narrative that I was the emotionally unavailable one. That I was controlling. That she was the victim of a loveless marriage where she felt unseen. Which is rich, coming from the woman who saw more strange hotel ceilings in a year than most people see in a lifetime. Anyway, I didn't rise to it. I let her play her little sympathy games. Her friends started texting me, some just checking in, others obviously fishing for dirt. I gave him nothing. Because at the end of the day, I knew the truth. And more importantly, so did she. But the real battleground was Lily. Our little girl, man. She didn't understand any of it. Why I wasn't home every night. Why Mommy suddenly had friends visiting more. Why Daddy kept saying things like, "I'll always be here for you," with that tight voice adults use when they're trying not to cry in front of their kid. Clay, my lawyer, advised me to document everything. So I did. Every missed pickup, every time Rachel was too busy to FaceTime Lily on my days. I wasn't trying to weaponize parenthood. But if she wanted to fight for shared custody, I was gonna show up with a full damn playbook. It didn't help that Rachel thought she could still charm her way through the legal process like she did in business. She tried to argue that I was emotionally unstable because I moved out without a warning, that I was abandoning the marriage and traumatizing our daughter. I reminded the court and her lawyer that she was the one who invited multiple men into her life while being married. She was the one who built a double life on lies and hotel bedsheets. She didn't like that very much. One day, after a custody hearing, She cornered me in the parking lot. No makeup, no filters. Just raw nerves and a voice 2 decibels too loud. "You're destroying everything," she hissed. "Why couldn't we have just worked this out?" I looked her square in the eye and said, "Because you already worked it out with 2 other guys. I was just the last to know." She opened her mouth, probably to spin another excuse, but I didn't stick around. I walked off. Later that week, my lawyer called with the update I'd been waiting for. Temporary primary custody had been granted to me. The court cited stability of environment and pattern of concerning behavior on her side, which was legal speak for, "Congratulations, you didn't bang your way out of your daughter's life." I moved into a rental place just outside of town. A small craftsman with a fenced-in yard, one of those ancient oak trees in the back, and enough space for Lily to have her own room, filled with stuffed animals and drawings of unicorns that looked like radioactive goats. But she was happy. And for the first time in a long time, so was I. I dropped Lily off at kindergarten every morning, packed her lunch with the dumb little notes that say things like, "You rock," or "Dad loves you big like a dinosaur." She'd giggle every time she opened them. That sound? That was better than therapy. Better than revenge. That sound told me I was doing something right. Rachel, meanwhile, was unraveling. She tried to get Tom back. He told her to lose his number. She tried to guilt Jason. He'd already changed his. Then she started reaching out to me. It started with, "I miss us." Then, "You'll regret this." Then it got weird. "Maybe we could try again, just us." A fresh start. "Lady, we already did that once. It was called marriage." I didn't reply. Because here's the thing no one tells you about betrayal. Once you come out the other side of it, it doesn't own you anymore. The pain? It becomes a scar. It's still there, yeah. But it doesn't bleed anymore. She could text me 100 times. She could cry, beg, threaten, flirt. It didn't matter. That part of me? Gone. Burned to the ground. And I was already planting something new in the ashes. You ever walk out of a courthouse and feel like you just finished a marathon you didn't train for? That's what finalizing the divorce felt like. It was a warm Friday morning, early fall. The kind where the air still smells like summer, but there's a bite underneath, like the wind knows something's coming. I showed up in jeans and a blazer. Rachel? She wore black. Dramatic as ever. Like she was headed to a funeral. Maybe she was. Hours. The whole process took under an hour. After months of filings, mediations, custody evaluations, asset lists, and legal back and forth, it ended with a judge signing a piece of paper and saying, "Good luck to both parties." That was it. 10 years. 1 daughter. 2 restaurants. All reduced to legal language and paper signatures. Here's how it shook out. I got Fork Road. That place was mine from the start anyway. Rachel kept Velvet Table, though she had to buy out my equity share, which wasn't cheap. But I took less than I could have, because at the end of the day, I didn't want to be tethered to her business, her life, her drama. That clean break? Worth every penny. Lily stayed with me 5 nights a week. Rachel got weekends, and 1 midweek evening. She protested, of course, claimed she was being cut out. But the judge didn't buy it. Between her frequent overnight guests, spotty caregiving record, and, oh yeah, the 2 boyfriends who vanished faster than her wedding vows, the court didn't exactly view her as mom of the year. The best part? Lily was okay. I mean, yeah, she asked questions. Little ones, mostly. "Why don't you and Mommy live together anymore?" Or, "Why does Mommy have a new friend every time I visit?" That one stung. But I kept my answers honest and simple. Sometimes grown-ups forget how to be nice to each other. So they take space. But I'll always be here, and I'll always love you. She'd nod. Sometimes hug me. Sometimes just go back to coloring unicorns that looked like they'd been tasered. Whatever worked. I wasn't dating. I wasn't even thinking about dating. I was healing. Quiet mornings, good coffee, no text message landmines. I started jogging again. Lost 10 pounds. Cooked actual food for myself, not just kids' mac and cheese. It's funny how solitude can feel like a luxury after living with lies. Meanwhile, Rachel was, well, Rachel. She leaned hard into the hot single entrepreneur lifestyle. Her Instagram became a parade of empowerment, quotes layered over filtered selfies. Stuff like, "A queen never apologizes for her crown," which is rich, considering the crown was bought on a foundation of deception. She even tried to start a blog. Called it, Rebuilding Rachel. I swear I'm not making that up. Wrote all about growth and independence and finding joy after heartbreak. Left out the part where she was the one swinging wrecking balls into her own life. I didn't care. Let her have her audience. I was busy building something real. Then one day, about 2 months post-divorce, she sent me a long email. Subject line, "I need to say this." Already knew it wasn't gonna be good. She wrote about how she was sorry. Not in the, "I take full responsibility" kind of way, more like, "I didn't handle things the best, but I was hurting too." You know, the non-apology apology. She said she missed the family. Said she missed me. That she wasn't trying to get back together, but maybe we could be friends. Friends. Right. I thought about replying. Really did. I even wrote something. Friends don't lie. They don't cheat. They don't burn the house down and then ask if you want to grab coffee while it's still smoldering. But I didn't send it. I deleted the draft. Because here's the truth, I wasn't angry anymore. I was done. She didn't deserve my rage. Or my words. Or anything really. And honestly, that silence, that unread reply, probably hit harder than any comeback I could have thrown at her. That was the day I realized I wasn't fighting her anymore. I wasn't trying to fix the narrative. I wasn't chasing justice. I had it. My daughter was safe. My restaurant was mine. My life was mine. And hers? Well, let's just say the Rebuilding Rachel blog went dark after a month. Turns out, it's hard to build an empire when you're still standing on quicksand. So yeah, she cheated. She lied. She burned our marriage to the ground. But I built something better in its place. And I didn't need her to see it. Funny how life sneaks up on you. You spend months picking through the wreckage of a broken marriage, wondering if the smell of betrayal ever really fades, and then, one random Tuesday, you realize you haven't thought about her in 3 days. And when you do, it's not anger. It's nothing. And nothing feels incredible. That's where I was. I'd settled into my new place with Lily. The two of us had our little routines. Every Thursday night was pizza and pajamas. Just me and her in the living room, surrounded by crayons and half-eaten slices, watching Moana for the 100th damn time. And I mean, I've got nothing against The Rock, but if I hear, "You're welcome," one more time, I might legally change my name to Maui and jump off a boat. But honestly, those nights were my favorite part of the week. I was still managing Fork Road, still working long hours, but I had a rhythm now. I wasn't half-scanning every incoming text like a bomb might be on the other end. I wasn't walking on eggshells in my own damn home. There was peace in the ordinary. And that was new for me. Then came her. Now, don't get ahead of yourself. This isn't some rom-com nonsense. I didn't meet her on a beach while picking up seashells with Lily. I didn't bump into her in a bookstore while reaching for the same copy of To Kill a Mockingbird. No. I met her at a damn plumbing supply store. Seriously? I was there picking up a replacement part for the busted sink in the Fork Road kitchen. I had grease on my shirt, a stain on my jeans, and I looked like I hadn't slept in 2 days, because I hadn't. It was inventory week. She was standing in the aisle with a busted faucet in one hand, talking to a store employee who clearly had no clue what he was doing. She looked frustrated, like she was 2 seconds from just throwing the thing and buying a whole new house instead. I don't know what made me speak up. Maybe it was the way she muttered, "This is why I should have married a plumber," under her breath. I said, "You still can. I hear we're great listeners and mediocre dancers." She blinked, then laughed. And it was the kind of laugh that hits your ears and doesn't feel like a threat. We talked. I helped her find the part. She thanked me and left. I figured that was it. Then I ran into her again the next week, at the same store. Turns out, she was renovating her cafe across town. New ownership. Needed a hell of a lot more than just a faucet. Her name was Erin. Single mom. Her son was 7. Divorced too, 5 years out. Her ex hadn't cheated. He just disappeared emotionally. Said he was done with the whole domestic thing and moved to California to find himself. Spoiler, last I heard, he's now finding himself on his 3rd girlfriend and 2nd failed kombucha startup. Anyway, Erin was different. Grounded. Smart. Sharp-witted. She had that dry, deadpan sarcasm I loved, the kind that doesn't try too hard. Just cuts straight to the truth and leaves you chuckling while you bleed. We didn't start dating right away. We started talking. Coffee meetups. Quick lunches when our shifts aligned. We'd vent about busted sinks and obnoxious Yelp reviewers, and how kids somehow always manage to step in ketchup no matter how far the bottle is. I didn't tell her everything at first. Hell, I was still carrying the weight of Rachel's affair like a backpack filled with bricks. But slowly, I opened up. She didn't flinch. She just listened. Then one day she looked at me and said, "You know, sometimes we don't need to fix things. We just need someone who won't break them worse." I felt that. And I realized I liked being around her. Not because she made me forget Rachel, but because she reminded me who I was before Rachel. That guy who told dumb jokes in college. Who used to make burgers in a borrowed food truck and dream about owning a place with exposed brick and handwritten chalkboard menus. The guy who believed in partnership, real partnership. We went on our first real date 6 weeks after that. Nothing fancy. Burgers and a beer. I told her up front, I'm a single dad with emotional scar tissue and a daughter who thinks I'm a superhero. She smiled and said, I'm a single mom who swears too much and cries at commercials. So yeah, we'll get along just fine. That night, when she kissed me, it didn't feel like a new chapter. It felt like I had finally closed the old one. Clean. No bookmark. No looking back. It's weird how the more you move on, the louder the past gets. Not because you miss it. Not because you want it back. But because it starts realizing it's lost its grip on you, and starts scrambling for relevance. That's where Rachel was. A ghost screaming in a house I didn't live in anymore. See, word gets around in a town like ours. You'd be surprised how small a city feels when you co-own restaurants, know half the service industry, and your ex-wife treated your marriage like a dating app she forgot to log out of. People talk. Turns out, Velvet Table wasn't doing so hot. Not that I celebrated it, okay, maybe a little, but from what I heard, staff turnover was through the roof. Rachel had fired 2 managers in 3 months, had a meltdown over an incorrect wine shipment, and, rumor had it, was dating some guy 15 years younger who wore leather jackets unironically, and had a neck tattoo that said, Free Spirit. It was like watching a midlife crisis with a Yelp page. She even tried reaching out again. This time it was a voicemail. She never called anymore. Probably figured I'd block her. I had, but she found a workaround through Lily's school contact list. Left a message with the office. Asked me to call her about a personal matter. Clay, my lawyer, advised against it. Unless it's about Lily, ignore it. She's trying to find leverage. But I was curious, so I had him call her instead. Turns out, Rachel wanted to revisit the custody agreement. Translation: she wanted more time with Lily. Why? Because people were starting to talk. Her little empowerment narrative didn't play so well when she was only seeing her daughter twice a week and occasionally showing up to kindergarten pickups with guys who looked like they vaped in church parking lots. She said she was emotionally stable now and that co-parenting more evenly would be good for Lily. Clay asked if she was back in therapy. She wasn't. He asked if her living situation had stabilized. It hadn't. He asked if she had any actual evidence that Lily was struggling under the current agreement. She didn't. So the answer was no. That didn't go over well. She left another voicemail, this one a little less diplomatic. You can't just cut me out of my daughter's life, Josh. I'm her mother. You're punishing me because you're bitter. But you need to grow up. Grow up. Right. Says the woman who blew up our marriage with the precision of a toddler throwing Legos off a balcony and is now trying to reassemble the pieces with Instagram quotes and rebound boyfriends. I didn't call her back. I didn't even dignify it with a response. Because while she was busy throwing darts in the dark, I was building a life that had light in it. Me and Aaron? We weren't perfect. But we were real. She met Lily about 3 months in. We kept it simple. Introduced her as Daddy's friend. Went to the zoo, fed the giraffes. Lily liked her instantly, probably because Aaron brought homemade cookies and didn't talk down to her like some adults do. The three of us started doing more things together. Park visits, farmers markets, lazy Sunday mornings with cartoons and pancakes that looked like abstract art. It wasn't fast. It wasn't forced. But it fit. Aaron's son, Max, met Lily a few weeks after that. They hit it off like they'd been siblings in a past life, which was hilarious because Max was a quiet little introvert, and Lily was basically a walking sparkler with pigtails. Sometimes, I'd catch the four of us sitting around the dinner table, laughing over something dumb, and it would hit me. This is what peace feels like. Not the absence of chaos, but the presence of something better. No lying. No sneaking around. No second-guessing what version of the truth I was being fed. Just honesty, warmth, and the quiet knowledge that I was where I was supposed to be. Meanwhile, Rachel's world kept crumbling, slowly, and very publicly. She posted a life update on Facebook one night. A big block of text about learning lessons the hard way and realizing what you lost when it's too late. Tagged nobody. But everybody knew. Even her comments were painful. Old friends and one-night acquaintances chiming in with, "You got this," and "Growth looks good on you," while probably texting their group chats like, "Did you see this hot mess?" I didn't reply. Didn't react. Just kept living. Because here's the thing about healing, it's quiet. It doesn't show up on your social feed. It doesn't need validation. It's in the moments nobody sees. Like Lily falling asleep on your chest after a hard day. Like Aaron humming in the kitchen while she makes tea. Like realizing you haven't checked your ex's profile in weeks because you don't care anymore. That's healing. And while Rachel was still performing her pain for anyone who'd watch, I was finally free of it. It was a Saturday afternoon. The air had that late autumn feel, crisp, quiet, like the world was winding down for the year. I was on the back porch with Aaron. Lily and Max were inside watching some animated movie I couldn't keep up with. Probably involved singing food or time-traveling hamsters. Who knows? That's when I got the text. "Rachel, can we meet? Just us. Please." It had been months since I'd seen her in person. And the last time was in a courthouse hallway with beige walls, bad lighting, and 2 lawyers doing most of the talking. I stared at the message for a long second. Showed Aaron. She didn't say much, just gave me a soft nod like, "Go if you need to. I'm not threatened." She never tried to control me. Never got insecure about my past. That's part of what made her different. So I met Rachel the next morning. Neutral ground. A bench by the reservoir where we used to walk with Lily when she was still in a stroller. She was already sitting there when I arrived. Hair done, makeup light. She looked tired. And not just, I didn't sleep. Tired. I mean the kind of tired you carry in your bones when your own decisions keep you up at night. "Hey," she said. I nodded. "Hey." We sat in silence for a minute, just watching ducks float by like they gave a damn about any of this. Then she spoke. "I wanted to say I'm sorry," she said, eyes fixed on the water. "Not for the sake of getting something. Not to undo what's happened. I need to say it." I didn't say anything. Not yet. "I ruined everything," she said. "I don't even know why I did it. I thought I wanted more, something exciting. I wanted to feel alive again. But instead, I killed the one thing in my life that actually meant something. She finally turned to look at me. Her voice cracked. I betrayed you. And I betrayed Lily. And I'll regret it for the rest of my life. There was no script in that moment. No perfect comeback. No satisfaction. Because by then, the pain wasn't fresh. It was just part of the landscape. And I didn't feel hate. I didn't feel fire. I just felt done. I looked her in the eye and said, I believe you're sorry. I just wish you figured it out before you torched everything we built. She nodded, bit her lip. Do you hate me? No, I said. Not anymore. Are you happy? I thought about Lily, about Aaron, about slow Sunday mornings and bedtime stories, and the way peace creeps in when you stop chasing what already left. Yeah, I said. I am. She looked away, swallowed something hard. I'm glad. And just like that, she stood up, pulled her coat tight, started to walk away. Then she turned back one last time. Take care of her, she said, voice small. I nodded. Always. That was the last real conversation we ever had. No more emotional appeals. No more texts in the middle of the night. Whatever part of her that needed to make peace had said its piece. And me? I didn't look back. Because sometimes closure isn't a door slamming shut. Sometimes, it's just the sound of your own footsteps walking away, steady, calm, free. It's been over a year now. That number used to feel impossible. Back when I was still sleeping in the guest room, eating cold takeout, and wondering how the woman I built a life with could casually destroy it like a sandcastle on a windy day. But now, that number feels like freedom. Lily's in first grade. She's thriving. Smart as hell, full of questions, obsessed with unicorns and outer space, possibly planning to be the first kid to launch a glitter-powered rocket. We'll see. She still sees Rachel. Court-ordered visits and all. And you know what? I don't talk bad about her mom. Ever. Not because she deserves the favor, but because Lily does. She's a kid. She didn't choose this. She just needs parents who love her, and I swore I'd be one of them, even when the other one fell short. Rachel and I? We're civil now. Cold but polite. Like coworkers at a job we both can't quit but know better than to talk about anything besides the weather. I think she's still figuring herself out. Still trying to rebuild something, maybe even someone. That's not my problem anymore. Aaron and I are still together. She never rushed me. Never pushed for titles or timelines. Just showed up. Steady and kind, like she was holding the ladder while I climbed out of the wreckage. One day, I looked around and realized I wasn't rebounding. I was rebuilding. For real this time. Funny thing about life after betrayal, it's quieter. Not in a boring way, but in a finally exhaled way. Like you're not waiting for the other shoe to drop. Like the ground under your feet isn't secretly made of eggshells. Fork Road is thriving. I expanded the menu, added live music on weekends, even hired a head chef so I could step back a little. I'm still in it, just not buried under it. I've got balance now. Something I used to think was a myth made up by people who read too many self-help books. Turns out, it's real. And it's worth fighting for. Sometimes people ask me how I got through it. How'd you stay so calm? Why didn't you blow up her life? Don't you ever want revenge? And the answer is simple. I did better. Not louder. Not messier. Better. I built a life where I'm not a side character in someone else's drama. Where my daughter feels safe. Where I can breathe deep, love freely, and sleep without wondering whose car was in my driveway. That's revenge. That's peace. And if you've ever been through it, the cheating, the betrayal, the lies wrapped in, I didn't mean to. Let me tell you something. You don't have to burn the whole world down to heal. You just have to walk away. One step at a time. One deep breath. And trust that someday you'll wake up. Look around. And realize the worst thing that ever happened to you was the beginning of the best thing you ever built.